And welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. My name is Robin Finney. I am your Oracle, Intuitive, and Authenticity Guide. And every Wednesday I come live to you to bring you an Oracle message. So today we are going to tune in to the Archetypes Guidebook. And I've pulled from this many different times during Wisdom Wednesday, and I use it often with my clients. And it's a really supportive deck when you are really exploring like shadow work or patterns, or kind of trying to see how, like, what image something is portraying in your life. And so it can be really helpful for like more depth. And so a lot of times, like, the essence of the archetypes can feel a little like, it can be triggering sometimes. But just know that there's always something deeper there. And oftentimes archetypes are supporting us in really, like, kind of unearthing what's been hiding, or what we've kind of been not wanting to look at. And so it's a really great way to just bring more depth just to our own spiritual practices. So today I will be pulling from that, and I went ahead and pulled cards beforehand, but I haven't looked at them or anything. So we'll tune in to see what messages align for you this week. And as always, I would love for you to drop in the comments how the message resonates for you and what you're noticing as well. Because a lot of times what I recognize too with archetypes is, and this is with oracle cards in general, is sometimes the messages can hit us right away. And we're like, oh yes, I get that. I feel that. I feel seen. And it's kind of like bringing up what we already know inside. And then other times they might kind of catch us off guard, or allow us to feel like, I don't know, that doesn't really feel like it resonates or aligned. And then the longer, like, you sit with it, you sit with a message. Sometimes it can be later on in the same day. It may take a few days, a week, a couple weeks, something like that. But through time, then the message will start showing up in your life. So I invite you, as you tune in, to just allow yourself space around that. And as always, take some time to journal about how the messages are speaking to you. So that is my invitation for you. So now, if you're watching live or you're catching the replay, I invite you to just take a moment and tune in. Just take a nice deep breath and bring a number to mind, 1, 2, or 3, and just trust that whichever number you choose, that is the message that is aligned for you with where you are right now. Okay, got your number? Okay, great. All right, so for my number ones, your message is the shaman. Okay, held that up for a little bit, and I'm happy to post these if anybody would like to see the images after. The shaman for my number ones: the magi, the sorcerer, the medicine woman. 3 archetypal ingredients constitute the shaman, and all must be present in order to reveal its magic. First, the shaman is activated by long-standing and diligent study, the mentor. Second, its orientation is generously and accurately aimed toward the healing of the self, the other, and the culture, the healer. And third, the shaman has a knack for finding doorways to the other world, allowing psychic visions and old magic to leak into this world, the unseen. In this way, the shaman is a master who bridges the everyday and the sacred, revealing potent power needed desperately in our time. Yet where there is power, there is shadow. So the shaman must be vigilant in studying their darkness. This card reminds us that the force of healing is ultimately not our own. We must shape it and share it with the world. So when in light, this message is fearless, student, and practitioner. And when dark, overpromises, blames, hurts self and others. The shaman can't be rushed. Working with the archetype requires study and perseverance. Think of it like brining or marinating. The content must permeate every fiber of its being. And contrary to popular belief, the shaman archetype appears in every vocation. Teachers, directors, surgeons, politicians, and poets are just a few of the faces a shaman may wear. So oftentimes for my number ones, your message is the shaman. And oftentimes when we think of shaman, if you're kind of in the spiritual realm or maybe you've heard the term but you don't quite know a lot about it, it's kind of like that medicine, like medicine man, medicine woman, medicine person who they have that deeper healing wisdom. And it can actually be, the archetype can show up in many areas of our life, many vocations. So you don't have to be necessarily someone who is a healer in that sense. So I invite you, if you chose number one, to really sit with the essence of this message this week and look at, like, what are you curious about these days? What are you learning? What are you wanting to learn? And really take some time to follow that curiosity and allow yourself space to dive into that, because the shaman definitely it's a lifelong learner. They're always a student, and then also taking that knowledge that they learn and bringing it out into the world as a teacher. So for my number ones, that is your message this week. For my number twos, your message is the Queen. I love that we have two selves in a row. Okay. So there's different, like with the archetypes deck, there's like places, tools, the initiations, the selves. So for my number twos, your message is the Queen. The Empress, the Mother Queen, the Sovereign. Like her counterpart, the King, the Queen has a dualistic nature. Either she presides over the realm with grace and eloquence that comes from the heavens to uplift the spirit of others, or she falls into petty, contemptuous moods, casting a shadow across the land. If the king is the ego, the queen is the expression of that ego in the world. She is the lotus's bloom, the dancer's bow, the moon's radiant reflection. When the queen is seated in her rightful and righteous place, she is patient and forgiving. She waits for the grace of God and goddesses to move through her, striving and grasping for nothing. To be the benevolent leader, to embody the queen, is to settle into deep trust, resolve, and power. The royal queen fears nothing, for divinity itself cradles her heart. So when in light, the embodiment of grace, courage, resolve, and stillness. And when in dark, vain, wrathful, self-righteous, and demanding. The queen does not accept the hand of a prince, but claims the throne, knowing the king draws near. She is a magnet for the fully embodied masculine and entertains nothing less. And then there's an invitation for my number twos to read Cleopatra's monologue in Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra, and then read about Inanna, Tara, and Hera. So I can post that if you're my number twos out there. But the queen is really like inviting you to, I would say, like, look at where are you standing in your power and where are you dimming from that light, from your throne, from your essence, and hiding that. And then also notice the energy of where you are and just how you can invite more of the essence of the queen when the lightness of it, the embodiment of grace, courage, resolve, and stillness, knowing that the queen she's powerful, just that essence of this archetype, and like she knows her place. So I invite you to just take some time to really look at that and see like where you can really take on that energy more and step more in alignment with that. So that is for my number twos. And finally, my number threes out there, your message is the Starborn. And this is another self. So I love that we all have archetypal selves this week. The Starborn for my number threes, the divine child, the star child, the destined. An elusive yet radiant aspect of the self, the Starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of light that arrives with each being at birth. The moment the newborn crowns, whether vaginally or surgically, the royal stars above are said to constellate in a unique shape that maps our path in the world. The idea of destiny is controversial, yet the Starborn naturally feels a sense of destination and purpose, aiming itself toward a future that is beyond the mundane. When this card appears, travel back to your birth story for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from a mythic point of view rather than as a series of logistics. Read the story of the three fates and envision yourself born under the stars with a unique destiny. And when light, a light, trusting, vibrant, aimed. When dark, feeling of misalignment, loss of longing. And then this message, this archetypal message, invites you to have your chart read. Study your constellated shape, ask questions. What does the process conjure in you? Faith or mistrust? What would happen if you saw the galaxy as your ally? And when this card appears, don't be surprised if you receive a surge of desire for a long lost dream, one you haven't visited since childhood. Let this desire shake you up. So for my number threes, which this is number 3, the Starborn. And so I will just let you know, I always tune in as well beforehand to see, like, I pick a number too. And I always like to do it before I know which messages are going to be. So I'm aligned in that too. And so my message today was number 3. And I was on a call this morning and with somebody in my network, and she was inviting me to really look at my inner child and invite my inner child into my big vision for solo experiences. And so you know, it's no coincidence that this is the card that came up for that. So if you're in this, if you're a number 3 like me, then really take some time to reflect on the things that you really loved as a child, what lit you up. And then really, like, tune inward and ask questions around, like, what is it that you desired? What was your big dream, your big vision as a child? And then see how you can bring that into where you are right now. And then also the invitation to have your chart read. I invite you, spiritual astrologer Eileen Mello, who has been a guest on Wisdom Wednesday many times. Beginning of the year is a great time to dive into that. So if you're interested, then I can connect you with her and you can do a consultation and have your chart read. You can also pull your chart yourself, but it does, I will say, it helps to have someone who has more depth and knowledge around that. But that might be an invitation for you to, if you've never done that, or if it's been a while since you had to, have a reading in that way so that you can kind of dive more into this archetype. So that is Wisdom Wednesday for today. We pulled from the Archetypes Guidebook, and I'd love to hear in the comments how these messages resonate with you this week. We have 3 really strong, powerful archetypal selves. And yeah, just really, I invite you to spend some time journaling and really step into that. And if you find that you're wanting something a little deeper, or just like personal, more personalized to you, I dropped in the information, you can book a virtual reading with me, which is where I pull a card for you and then I email or message you the response based on your question. Or if you want to go a little more in depth, you can schedule a deep clarity session with me, which is a 90-minute session, and we really dive deep and get clarity around an area of life that's important to you. So, but if nothing else, I appreciate you showing up every Wednesday, and please let me know how these messages are speaking to you and what you're noticing, what synchronicities you're noticing right now in life. So have a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday wherever you are in the world. Take care, and I'll see you next week.